Okay, so here I am with my notes and where to start. Well, Gurkha was founded by a man named Kaizad Hanosha. I think I'm pronouncing it right, and I tried to find but could not find a pronunciation online. But Kaizad Hansostia Ostia Hanosha. Kaizad Hanosha. He was born in India and raised in Hong Kong. And family business was watches. They were watchmakers. And Hanosha dropped out of college later on to join the family business, and this was in the 1980s. So he's making watches, and one year he, in 1989, he goes to Goa, India, and meets a Portuguese man selling cigars. I don't know why it's important that he's Portuguese, but that's what it said. And Hanosha decided to buy the entire stock, and not only the entire stock, but he bought the brand name off the guy. And according to Wikipedia, he got all this for 149 bucks. Now, exaggeration? I don't know. Could be, or maybe not. They always say how the early settlers and bought the island of Manhattan for 29 bucks or 31 bucks or 42 bucks. It always changes from the Native Americans who were actually the Manahatas or Manatatas or something. Anyway, the island was named after them, but it was actually more than that. I read something about, you know, the value of, it was like, I don't know, but it still was pretty cheap, is what they're saying. Anyway, once he bought these cigars in the brand name, he sent them to a friend who owned an a duty-free cigar shop, and the guy was really impressed and wanted more. So Hanosha, being involved in the family business and being a businessman, saw a business opportunity. And at that time, he decided to go meet with somebody who knew a little more about cigars, see if he could get some things going. He met up with Charlie Toronto. You may know the name, very familiar, Toronto Cigars, Exodus, you know, a lot of different great cigars they make. And then he started working on making blends with Toronto and also designing the brand image and boxes. And Hanosha said, quote, "I wanted my packaging to jump off the shelves. I wanted a piece of furniture with cigars inside." And that is exactly what Gurkha has been doing. I mean, some of their boxes are outrageous. Outrageous. You know, they weigh a ton. They're extremely well made, durable. Every brand has a very distinct type of box. Some of them are made of all metal. They do cigars in frosted glass tubes with, you know, gold brass fitting caps. Unbelievable stuff. Anyway, but you know, image is image. Good cigars are a whole nother story. I would say he definitely succeeded in the whole image area. This cigar is picking up density quick. The smoke is getting a lot thicker. It's giving off a really good aroma. Really nice. Very sweet, very perfumey. It's like almost like some sort of perfume with notes of cocoa in it. It's kind of interesting. So then that's pretty much it as far as how Gurkha got off the ground. We have a bunch of interesting facts here though. And a lot of them have to do with fancy. Gurkha also does a type of infused cigar. And, you know, I actually have one for fun's sake. Pick this up to show everybody. It's a Grand Reserve cigar, and what it is a cigar that has been infused with cognac. Some people like this kind of thing. It's very fancy. It's in a glass tube. It's got this wax, you know, stuff dripping off the edges. It looks really cool, you know, but that's what it is. It's a cognac infused cigar. And in 1996, Gurkha made a cigar called His Majesty's Reserve. Basically a very upscale version of this. Actually, I don't really know which they made first. I bet they made His Majesty's Reserve first. Anyway, it used 18-year-old tobacco, and each box used up a decanter of Louis XIII de Remy Martin cognac. Now this cognac is very expensive. Online, I looked up pricing. It usually sells between like $400 or $500, but depending on how you get it and where you get it, say nightclub, it can go up to $3,000. It could get very expensive. So each box of 20 cigars used up an entire bottle of this in the infusing process. And the price was $15,000 a box. $15,000 a box, making it the most, or well, one of, I would say the most expensive cigar ever made. I mean, at that time, $15,000, how much is that a cigar? 20 cigars, it's like $700 a cigar, $720 a cigar. Very, 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 for a release, not like, we're not talking vintage Cubans from pre-World War II, we're just talking a cigar that was made a year ago, you know. It does use 18-year-old tobacco, apparently. Anyway, $15,000 a box. The big difference as far as image goes is it does have a fancier box, but this wax here is a green color. So if you see one of these with green wax for 15 bucks, buy it. Because it's a mistake, and you could sell it to somebody else if you don't want to smoke it for a lot of money. Anyway, interesting fact again, apparently Bill Clinton was a big fan of the Grand Reserve cigars. Not His Majesty's Reserve, the Grand Reserve. And this one uses another vintage cognac for $100, and they sell for $120 each a cigar. So there are different levels here. This is the lower end, even though it's still beautiful looking, I guess. I don't know how it is. I never smoked one. I just don't really care to. I should try it one day, you know, see, but whatever. Not really that interested. But that's very expensive for an infused cigar. I mean, okay, if it came with a bottle of Louis XIII, you know, but you just wasted the bottle of Louis XIII by putting it into the cigar, for God's sake. And now you ruined the cigar. I mean, that's what... Hey, not my words. That's what somebody else said to me once when I showed it to him and I was talking about this. But that's not all. That is by far not the most expensive thing Gurkha has ever made. You may know a little cigar if you're a Gurkha fan called Black Dragon. It's a series that, you know, you could buy these. They're not that expensive. They make a whole bunch of different vitolas. It's one of their sub-brands, Black Dragon. Anyway, before that, in 2006, Gurkha released a cigar called Black Dragon, and this was a box. Here's the thing. The cigars themselves were supposedly aged for 15 years. There were 100 cigars to a box, and only 5 boxes were made. The box was made out of brass and carved camel bone, and it's holding 100 cigars. So this is a big chest. I'll show you a little picture right here. Anyway, a box of these went for $115,000 for a box of 100 cigars. Only 5 boxes made per year, and apparently, well, I got a discrepancy. I got one site that says 5 boxes a year. I got one site that says there were only 5 boxes made, period. I don't know if anybody actually bought them, but whoever did must be pretty fucking pissed, because after that, they released a sub-brand of Black Dragon cigars that you could get for fucking $10 a piece. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you buy, I don't know, if they came out with this, like, well, it's kind of like, it's weird. Like, the first one, there's probably a little difference. Maybe the Black Dragons, obviously the Black Dragons and the regular sub-brand aren't aged for 15 years, you know, and they don't come in a giant chest made of camel bone. But, you know, it's like the Cohiba Behike. Before the Behike that we all know, there was a Behike that not a lot of people know about, you know, and it was a very, very limited, one of the most expensive cigars ever made. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but you can look that up. Anyway, so here's a cigar brand that offers, you know, a chest of cigars for 115 grand. for 100 cigars. So that is more than $1,000 a cigar. 100 cigars, 115 grand. You're paying $1,000 plus. Wow. $1,000 a cigar. I mean, I'd love to smoke one and see, are they actually any good? And even if they're good, I mean, are they worth, why are they so much? Are they, it almost irks me. It almost seems like they're trying to see how much people are willing to pay, taking real advantage of the whole collector's market, you know? Let's see if there are 5 collectors out there who are so insane that they have to have this for them. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as a cigar that's worth that much. There's no such thing. Apparently there is such thing as a cigar that sells for that much, but it's impossible to make a cigar worth it. Unless you smoke it and the ash turns to pure fucking gold. And even then, I don't think you'd have enough ash to be worth 115 grand. Gurkha seems to be a brand that tends to exaggerate. You know, for instance, blend strength 97.6. You know, that would mean that this is stronger than 97.6% of the cigars I've smoked. First of all, I don't know how you come to the conclusion that that's the strength. That I just don't know. Second of all, so far, this cigar actually seems kind of, medium at best. It is a 7-inch cigar. Longer cigars tend to start out much more mild. This thing has, right now, if I could really best describe it as, it almost has this jerky, teriyaki-ish type of flavor going on to it with tobacco. It's very interesting. It's like a sweet saltiness. You know how like with the Partagas we had that sour saltiness that gives a twang? This is like a sweet saltiness. It's not bad. If you like that kind of thing. It's making me hungry. Still got some leather going on, but it's been subdued to a nice point. The cigar smokes a lot. The ash is, well, first of all, the first about 3/4 of an inch of it, I was over there playing with the camera, it just fell right off. And now you can see the ash here is, as it's burning, the ash is coming out like a blooming onion. You know what I mean? It's not staying in a nice tight cylindrical, it's coming out like this. And that has a lot to do with the roll. The ash is very on the lighter side. It's a little charcoaly. It seems to be good quality tobacco, but it's definitely not holding a really smoky cigar. Wow, very smoky. Look at that, ash just popped right off again. Only about a ½ inch. Yeah, you can see there's a channel right down the middle and a swirl. This thing just goes right around. Questioning the roll on this. But it tastes pretty good, I gotta say. It's not bitter, it's giving off a pleasant aroma, very sweet, perfumey. It's got a good, slightly resistant draw. It's got a nice feel to it. Wrapper is very oily, dark, a little mottled, kind of leathery looking, some big veins. I wouldn't say it's gorgeous. The oiliness of it makes it look good because then it's a very nice color. The back of the foot here, I could see some pretty thick veins. We're going to call them veins now, dried veins, what we all refer to as stems.